Have you ever had a friend that you can always depend on? A friend that comes running when you call their name? Well, I have, and he was a horse. Jake and I first met in McCook, Nebraska on a nice sunny day in August of 2011. I found him on Craigslist, and the picture that was posted made him look very nice. So I set up a meeting with the owner so I could try him out. But when I got there, he wasn't at all what I thought he would be. A horse as big as him should have been 1,300 pounds, but he was about 1,100 pounds. You could count every bone in the poor boy's body. I loaded him in the trailer and took him home. Over the winter, we thought he would die for sure, but we gave him as much hay and as much grain as he would eat. The weight just kept going up more and more. By spring, he weighed his preferred 1,250 pounds, and he looked great. I took him for rides every day to strengthen him up. One day, I noticed that the barrels were set up, so I decided that we would just go and walk around them. But no, that is not what Jake thought. He took off and away we went, 1, 2, 3 and home. I had a barrel horse that I hadn't even known about. He got faster and faster, and I started running at 4-H horse shows. We won almost every run we ever made in both barrels and pulls. We qualified for state with 4th place in pulls and 3rd place in barrels, and this was the first time I had ever been to districts, and he qualified that highly. But Jake was 27, and 1 week later, we were headed to the McCook Horse Show. We pulled over to give Jake some bute, and he couldn't swallow it. He just gagged it up. I looked at the ground, and there was gagged up grain everywhere. So we called a vet, and she said that he was definitely choking. She told us he needed to get someplace fast, but she was out of town looking at a herd of cattle. So we sped on to McCook. The vet there tried for hours to break through the knot of food, but he couldn't. So he sent us on to the vet in Curtis, who got through to his stomach quickly. He said Jake would be fine, but the next morning, he still couldn't swallow. So we brought him into Holdridge. The vet there told us that the first vet we saw must have punctured Jake's esophagus, and that now he had aspiration pneumonia. I went to see him at the vet's every day for 2 weeks, and finally, they told me I could take him home. We left him at the farm while we took 2 other horses to a show in Kearney. When we got back, I couldn't see Jake anywhere. I walked out into a pen, and behind a hay bale I found him. He was lying there in the mud, lifeless. I buried my friend behind my grandma's house, in a small pasture, under a lone tree by which Jake always stood. On his grave I made a wooden cross, and it reads, Jake, and below his name it says, until we meet again. And I will remember him forever.